Bro, some clips don't just feel creepy. They make you question what's really going on beneath the surface. Today, we're getting into a historical crowd in Israel, the darkest side of human history, a chilling story involving human filth and the missing 411 rabbit hole. Come on, man. This is Brosky Ray. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
This is not just old footage. Something about this video is seriously wrong. People say this was found in a collection of early recordings, completely unedited, just raw footage. At first it looks normal, just black and white clips of people, but then you start noticing it. Their faces, the way they move, doesn't feel human. Their expressions stretch too far, like their skin doesn't have limits. Their smiles feel forced, unnatural, almost like they're learning how to act human. And the scariest part, they don't react to it at all. No pain, no hesitation, just normal to them. Some clips show their faces shifting in ways no real person can control.
Really?
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. People online are convinced this isn't just old footage. They think something else is in these videos, something pretending to be human. And for a split second, it slips.
This is not AI. This IA.
Chinese engineers tried to solve the problem of excess water and eventually created one of the largest artificial waterfalls in the world. In Guizhou province, water flows down from the mountains all year round. During construction of a bridge across the Huajiang Canyon, engineers discovered powerful underground flows of karst waters. This could have become a serious problem, but instead of simply diverting the water, they decided to use it differently. A huge reservoir was built high in the mountains. When it overflows, the water isn't diverted through ordinary pipes. It's discharged directly from the bridge, and the water wall stretches approximately 300 meters in width. It's almost as if an entire Empire State Building, frozen horizontally above the canyon, were falling from the sky simultaneously. What was once an engineering problem has turned into one of the most surreal man-made spectacles. Today, there is not only a bridge here, but also observation decks, glass walkways, and tourist attractions. Chinese engineering once again shows its level, transforming problems into art, and the forces of nature into a mesmerizing spectacle.
Mind blowing, but wasting water instead of using it for AI?
Am I crazy, or am I seeing this too? This looks like fingers, right? That's exactly what I think it looks like. A hand or fingers with fingernails. Be prepared to be amazed. Let's just zoom out.
What? With hairs? Oh. Eyeball. Wow. You know the fingers are keeping that black hole open?
Of all the people you met in the criminal underworld, who was the most inspiring and who was the scariest?
Actually, I have an example for both in one single episode, the episode we did on assassins. And the first person we interviewed was an assassin here in LA, and he was really scary. I went there with a connection. The guy who took me there told me from the start that this guy has big mood swings, and so be careful with him. I met him. He was not very warm from the start, and immediately he showed me his gun and said, if this is a fucking setup, I'm going to kill you guys. So you're warned from now on that if this is a setup, you're all dead. And so we started the interview, and the whole time I'm thinking, what if the police shows up? Not because we called the police, because obviously we didn't, but what if they're just, driving around here? And once I asked him about his family, he wasn't very happy. He didn't want to talk about his feelings or his emotions. So that was the scary. One of the most inspiring interviews was an assassin we interviewed in South Africa, a guy called Jojo, who basically his parents were killed when he was about 9 years old. He was out on the streets, no family, had to figure out a way to survive, got into the drug business, eventually became a contract killer. And in the interview, he was telling me he only kills bad people. He doesn't kill women or children. And when I asked him, have you thought about what you're doing to the children when you kill the father, is the same thing that they did to you? He said, I had never thought about that. At the end of the interview, we shut down the cameras. He came to me in tears. He said, no one ever was interested in asking me about my life. I'm really seriously consider leaving this because I'd never thought that I was harming anyone.
You know what? This woman is such a badass.
No way. Listen to this.
Shut up.
What you say gonna happen? Come on, man. Come here. And what's gonna happen though? What about earthquake? Who is that? What do you know what today's day is? Yes, I do. What it is? 23rd. Or what? Of May. And what's gonna happen? July the 15th at 6 p.m. How many days left? 52. Alright. Hey, Tom. Yeah. You an angel. Angel sent you down here to tell me that. Who's that guy talking like that?
Crazy.
He said July 15th at 6 p.m. is going to be a worldwide earthquake. I don't know who that guy is, and to be honest with you, I don't believe him. Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purpose only. Maybe that's a skit because I don't believe that at all. Listen to me. You heard what he said at the end. How would that guy know that? Could it be that that was an angel on earth? He looked serious. He didn't look like he was joking. Something's going on out here, guys, and I know nothing about it. Stop playing with me, son. It's like a game out here, guys. You know what time it is. But I'll tell you one thing. If I ever see somebody that tells me that's going to happen on the same date at the same time, where you going to be at so I can meet up with you?
Yo, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus. But you know what? Not even the angels knows the hour. Come on, man. If he's speaking about the end of time.
Bro, what is going on in France? This is them happy. Hundreds of people have been arrested overnight after PSG fans took to the streets to celebrate them winning the Champions League for the second year in a row. And just like last year, the celebrations turned to violence. It turned to clashes with police, them setting fires to cars and e-bikes, smashing storefronts, and even the freaking Battle of Hogwarts. Over
Looting.
22,000 police had to be deployed across France in preparation just in case they won. And many shops even boarded up their windows before the match because they knew what could happen. One of the country's right-wing leaders said, only in France does everyone feel compelled to lock themselves in their homes on the evening of a victory to avoid being confronted with violence. So France, I say this for your own sake. Please don't win the World Cup.
Ha! You know, Paris is such a beautiful place.
This is the
used to be.
location where the Bible says that the end of the world is going to happen. I'm currently standing in the exact valley where the Bible predicts that there will be a war so great it will end all wars forever. Armageddon.
Breaking news, Israeli strikes against the capital of Tehran.
Israel has launched a dramatic airstrike campaign.
And based on what's happening in Israel today, many Christians believe that this battle will take place very soon. Then right up there at the top of the Mount of Olives, you can see, look at that sky up there. Right in that sky, the Bible says that Jesus is going to appear. He's going to descend from that sky, touch his feet down on the Mount of Olives. And when he does, the Bible says that something so terrifying will happen, it will change this place forever. But right before Jesus returns to this mountain for the Battle of Armageddon, 6 shocking signs will happen inside the land of Israel. So I traveled to the exact locations where the Bible says each of these 6 signs is going to take place. I want to see exactly how close we are to the second coming of Christ. But I was not prepared for what I saw. The first big sign of the end times happens at the most contested piece of land in the entire world. So right now we are literally standing on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And that's where the temple would have stood. We're actually walking up onto the Temple Mount right now. For those who don't know, this golden dome building that I'm standing in front of is a shrine called the Dome of the Rock. And most archaeologists believe that this shrine was built on the exact piece of rock where the ancient Jewish temple used to stand. So they believe that the area of the Holy of Holies would have been right inside this, right inside of these gates right here. I'm going to walk up, try to get close to it. This is the place where the presence of God came. But this isn't a Jewish shrine. It's Muslim. In fact, the Muslims currently control the entire Temple Mount, which is why the Jews are forced to pray and worship outside the walls of the Temple Mount. But the Bible says in the last days, this is all going to change. And what I saw while I was here made me realize that this change was already starting to happen. Something's going on over here. Do you hear that? It's like some chanting or something going on over here. Let me go see what it is. Literally just feet away from where the biblical temple used to stand, something pretty shocking was happening. What's happening here?
What's happening?
Yes. But in order for you to understand what I saw there, you first need to understand sign number 1 and number 2 on our timeline, because they both have to do with Israel and the Jews. When Jesus stood on this exact ground that I'm standing on now, he prophesied that not one stone of this temple would be left on another. And just a few decades later, this prophecy came true. The Roman Empire burned this great Jewish temple to the ground, forced the Jewish people out of their land, and over the last 2,000 years, they've been scattered all over the world. But what's crazy is that the Bible said that's exactly what would happen. Just take a look at this verse here, written hundreds of years before the Romans invaded. I will take you from the nations and gather you from all the countries and bring you into your own land. What's really interesting is that in 1948, the Jewish people came from nations all over the world and became a nation again after 2,000 years of Israel being non-existent. But interpreting 1948 as a fulfillment of the Bible prophecy we just read in Ezekiel 36 has caused a lot of debate and controversy today. But before you get upset, just hear me out. Not only does the Bible say that Israel is going to be a nation in the last days, but the Bible also says that in the last days, Jerusalem will be controlled by the Jewish people again. Jesus himself said Jerusalem will be trampled by the Gentiles until the times
It's happening now.
The Gentiles are fulfilled. The term Gentile is just a fancy word that means someone who is not a Jew. And almost 20 years after Israel became a nation again, they took control of Jerusalem in the 1967 war.
Bring it, man. I'm not scared. I got Jesus. By the way, awesome content.
We've been told 120 over 80 is good. But here's the thing. That normal protects somebody's. And your doctor's like, here's another pill. And if you're stressed out about your blood pressure, guess what that stress is going to do to your blood pressure? So why don't we talk about it instead? And I'm going to let you know what they don't want you to know. Now, systolic, that top number, that should be 110 plus half your age. And yes, it's supposed to rise with age. It's not dangerous, it's physiology. Now, diastolic, that number should be under 100. Listen, if it's over 100, your liver and your kidneys, they're in stress. These are your two biggest regulators for your blood pressure. So let's dig a little deeper because this next part, nobody wants to talk about. One of the highest causes of blood pressure is insulin resistance. And here's how it works. Every time you eat, your body releases insulin. Insulin is the key that unlocks your cells to allow that sugar in so you can fuel your body. But when you eat all day, too many carbs, too many sugars, too many snacks, your body is literally swimming in insulin all day. And when that happens, your cells stop listening. Now, the cells won't open and they become resistant to insulin signaling. So then your body starts making more of it. And now you have too much insulin in your blood, and that's where the trouble begins. High insulin then flips your body into fight or flight mode. Your blood vessels constrict, your heart rate starts climbing, and then your kidneys start holding on to salt and water. And that combination is the perfect storm for high blood pressure. Oh no, it doesn't stop there. And that constant flood drives inflammation. It irritates the lining of your arteries, makes them stiff, hard, and less flexible. And now your heart is pumping harder to get that blood through. Pressure rises, energy tanks. But the truth is, until you fix insulin resistance, you're not truly fixing the root cause. When you lower insulin, your vessels relax. Inflammation begins to drop and our blood pressure begins to normalize naturally. So if you've been struggling and stressing about high blood pressure and no one's ever told you, now you know. Drop blood pressure in the comments below or send me a direct message. And I'll show you a natural science-backed way on how people are fixing this for good.
Wow. Once again, awesome content. But is this reversible?
I have here something that we all need to look out for. This is a loaf of bread from Aldi that was purchased over 2.5 years ago.
2.5.
And it's been in this office as an experiment. You can use it like an accordion, smash it up. And even Eric can attest that this bread has been in here for over 2 years. And look at this. Let's get a close-up of this. No mold.
Make your shit
it
fresh.
smells fine.
Yo, show us the date.
You can smash it down, and it will come right back up. Again, this bread has been in this office for over 2 years. What
Show us the date.
the hell is in our food? We're going to come and find out. We're going to work on legislation to provide information on what we are putting in our body.
And they're going to sit there and tell you they don't know nothing, bro. Make your bread from scratch and fresh. And I'm telling y'all, bro, ever since I went to this restaurant, I had real bread for the first time. They make their bread fresh. And it's pretty, it's not bland, but it's not as sweet and cakey as bread is in the store. And it got me thinking. I seen this video of this lady from like the UK or something. She was like, or the Africa or one of them. She was like, why is y'all bread like cake in America? Why is your bread like cake? It tastes like cake. And I'm tough.
This is so powerful. Check this out.
There's a law in physics that basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought. So if you do that 17 seconds, for 68 seconds, then momentum begins to occur. So let's say that I'm normally, all of our emotions have a frequency to it. So if I'm in despair or anger or worry, all of those are lower, denser frequencies. You get into things like contentment, happiness, joy, love. Those are higher, faster frequencies. So let's say that I normally live in contentment. And that's my set point, because that's where I live. I think about that all the time. That's what my makeup is, that sort of thing. So I'm driving down the highway. All of a sudden, a car cuts me off, and I get angry. So now I'm in the lower, denser frequencies. And so then I go back to the office, and I'm telling all my colleagues, here's what happened. This knucklehead cut me off. Go home, tell my wife that. What am I doing? I'm vibrating angry energy. So I go to the supermarket, and there is somebody in line. I have 3 items, and I'm getting in line, and somebody ahead of me has 38 items. And the guy that's running the cash register, it's his first day, and he's not doing very well. He's very slow. Is that a coincidence? No, it's something for me to get angry about. So I'm attracting into my world whatever it is that I'm vibrating. So where my thoughts are, that's what's creating my reality.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Okay. This is so powerful, because think about it. You've been sending out a signal to the universe your whole life. Every worry, every doubt, every I'm not enough. That's energy. And the universe, it's been matching it perfectly, just like it's designed. Now here's where it gets magical. When you hold a new thought, a new feeling, a new intention, for just 68 seconds, you can call in a completely different reality. Something that small can reshape everything. Let that sink in and take your power back.
No wonder when someone is crying, we cry too.
Disturbing, it was banned online in several countries. And wait until you hear what's hidden inside this doll. It was 1999 in Hong Kong. Fan Man Yi was working as a nightclub hostess. Now, she was only 23 years old, but she'd been through more suffering in her life than most people could imagine. She was raised in an orphanage after her own parents had abandoned her. And heartbreakingly, she then got kicked out of the orphanage when she hit 15 years old, because they were like, you're too old now, you can survive on your own. They were the only family that she knew, and they'd now abandoned her too. Now, she had absolutely nothing. No home, no money, and no way to make any money. She pretty much had no choice but to turn to S-work. And sadly, it's so common in this industry, but being homeless and doing S-work, she turned to substances to numb the pain. She was literally only ever dealing with either substance addicts, substance dealers, or her clients who were paying her for S-work. So she ended up getting romantically involved with a client of hers. I was going to say they started dating, but let's be real, there was no dates involved. So she ended up eventually marrying this guy, and the pair actually had a baby 2 years later. But this was obviously far from an ideal situation. I mean, the red flags were red flagging right from the get-go. They both had substance issues, and neighbors would literally hear him absolutely screaming and shouting at her. And even more disturbing, I would say, is that they would hear this baby crying and crying and crying. This child would scream and scream, and it wasn't just like a normal baby crying, it was literally like a child that wasn't being seen to. Finally, Fan made a decision, like, I need to get out of here, I need to save the pair of us. Sadly, she'd be walking straight into the arms of a killer. Now, she was left with absolutely no money, nothing to her name, so in order to feed herself and her child, she had to rely on another client of hers. Now, this was Chan Man Lok. And he was an even bigger red flag than her own husband had been. He was this big drug lord. He had loads of money and loads of power. And in desperation, depressed, hungry, one night she decided to steal his wallet. He figured he probably wouldn't even notice, but it was actually the worst mistake of her life. He found out very soon, and he was going to make her pay. He was an evil man. He was like, you're going to work to make me earn my money back. Like I said, he was a very powerful man, and he had no problem getting 2 henchmen involved to kidnap her. She was absolutely terrified, but he explained, like, you just need to work and earn me some money back and then I'll let you go. But this was a lie. And here is where they did the most sickening things imaginable to this girl. She was tied up, she was beaten, she was hard. The men tortured her for fun. They would burn her flesh and force her to eat human excrement. And please be warned, it gets worse. Chan was truly a sick individual. He was grooming and trafficking loads of young girls. Now, he captured this one child and he made her do S work, and he called her his girlfriend, which was ridiculous because she was 14. Chan actually made her get involved in this torture. It was so disgusting. In her head, she was terrified, but she was thinking, well, if I don't do this, then I'm going to be the next victim. She was shaking with fear as she was made to kick and hit her. And honestly, it absolutely haunted this child, what she had to get involved with. After a month of the most horrifying torture you could imagine, Fan was found dead on the floor. And the henchmen honestly just treated her as garbage to dispose of. They moved her dead body into a bath and started chopping her up. Defies belief, but they literally put her body parts into saucepans and boiled her to try and get rid of the smell. And people always argue about why they did the next part, and I'm really interested as to whether you guys have opinions on this. They took Fan's boiled head and placed it in a Hello Kitty doll.
Get out of here.
Was it to hide it from the police, or was it to keep as like a sick souvenir? Now, after a few weeks of torment, this teenage girl decided enough was enough. I need to hand myself into the police. So she showed up at a police station and she was like, this is what's happened to this woman, and I was partly involved. When police entered the apartment, it was like something off a Saw film. They found individual body parts scattered inside, but maybe the most infuriating part of all of this was the fact that because Fan was chopped up and discarded, they actually couldn't tell what her cause of death was. So these men were all just convicted of manslaughter. They were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole, like these monsters could be out. Now, thankfully the son survived. I was thinking all along this story, like, what's going on with the little baby? But actually, I don't know what happened to him while Fan was kidnapped, but he was taken into care, and I've heard that he went on to study, he went to university and actually lives.
Good. Yep, I was wondering, where is the baby?
I feel like I'm being stripped down and prepared for something else. Now that's maybe very personal, but I feel like the Almighty's preparing me to do something big.
Nobody was supposed to see this version of Christ. Not in your lifetime. Not ever. For 1700 years, there has existed a portrait of Jesus so fundamentally different from anything the Western Church allowed its congregations to read that the men who controlled the institution spent centuries making sure every copy was tracked down and destroyed. They voted to ban the texts that contained it. They ordered the manuscripts burned. They labeled the writings too dangerous for ordinary believers. And for over 1,000 years, it worked. Billions of people lived and died without ever encountering the original description of who Jesus actually was, according to the people who knew him first. But they didn't get every copy. In cliff face monasteries carved into the mountains of northern Ethiopia, monks kept writing. They kept copying. Generation after generation, century after century, in dim stone rooms, lit by oil lamps mixing ink from minerals and plants, shaping every character of an ancient script with hands that cramped and eyes that eventually failed. They did it because they believed what they were preserving was sacred, not forbidden, not dangerous, sacred. And for 1,500 years, while the rest of Christianity was handed a softer, simpler, more manageable version, those monks guarded the original. Now, the filmmaker who already proved once that he would tell the unfiltered version of this story, regardless of what it cost him, has read what they preserved. He's spending $250 million to put it on IMAX screens. And what Mel Gibson is building right now inside Cinecittà Studios in Rome is a version of Jesus Christ that most of the Western world has never been told existed. You have to start in 2004 because without what happened then, none of what's coming next makes any sense. Mel Gibson directed a film that every studio in Hollywood refused to finance. He put up his own money. He mortgaged his own future on it. He shot the entire thing in Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew, dead languages nobody had spoken in that context for 2,000 years. No commercial softening, no theological compromise, no mercy for audiences who wanted something comfortable. The Passion of the Christ depicted the final 12 hours of Jesus' life with a physical intensity that left theaters shaken. The scourging, the crown of thorns, the slow collapsing march to Calvary, critics called it excessive. Audiences called it the most unflinching portrayal of Christ's suffering ever committed to film. It earned over $612 million worldwide on a $30 million budget. It became the highest-grossing R-rated film in American history, a record it held for nearly 2 decades. It remains the highest-grossing independent film ever made. The people who said it would ruin Gibson were wrong. The people who said audiences didn't want unfiltered religious cinema were spectacularly wrong. But Gibson never claimed the story was complete. From the very beginning, he said publicly that the Passion only told half the narrative. It ended at the tomb. What happened after that, what the oldest Christian texts say occurred across every realm of existence, not just inside a garden outside Jerusalem, that story had never been told. Not by any filmmaker, not in any medium, not once in the history of cinema. He spent the next 2 decades trying to figure out how to tell it. And what he found in those years of research led him to manuscripts that most Western Christians have never been told exist. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Gibson revealed he had been working from 2 scripts. One was traditional, structured, close to what audiences would expect. The other, in his exact words, was like an acid trip. He described a journey through multiple realms, through hell, through angelic hierarchies, through dimensions of reality that don't operate on human time. He said the film had to begin with the fall of the angels. You're in another place, he told Rogan. You're in another realm. You need to go to hell. You need to go to Sheol. He said the story spans from the fall of the angels to the death of the last apostle, not a 3-day window, a cosmic arc. Most people heard that interview and assumed Gibson was being theatrical. He wasn't. He was describing, almost word for word, what a set of ancient texts have always said happened. Texts that were written within living memory of the apostles. Texts that the authors of the New Testament themselves quoted. Texts that were deliberately banned, burned, and erased from Western Christianity. Because the men who ran the institution decided ordinary people should never encounter what...
I will definitely go. I've read a bit about the Ethiopian Bible. We need to know.
Psychics are demonic.
Yeah, they're not channeling your dead relatives.
100%, 100%.
Right now, we have at least 3 guardian angels in the room. There's also probably demons in this room, and they're listening, and they hear every bit of what we're saying. When somebody says, well, the psychic told me my mother shared this with me when I was 10, and nobody ever knew that but us. So it has to be my mom, except for the demons in the room who also heard it. And now they're impersonating your mother. If your mother's in heaven, she's having a good day. She doesn't want to come back and visit you, as much as mothers love their children. If she's in purgatory, she needs our prayers to get her moved into heaven. And if she's in hell, there's no getting out. It's not your mother. Can also place thoughts in our minds, and they can manipulate our emotions. And when you have that trifecta, the person is 100% believes it's their mother.
So if you're a psychic and I'm getting a reading from you, how does the transmission happen?
Well, they're in touch with a demon they may even think it really is a relative, but I think most of them know that there's a power they're tapping into that is dark, and they're not going to share that with you. In fact, some of them will put Christian statues in the room, Sacred Heart is over here, Our Lady of Fatima is over here, just to lower the anxiety level of the person coming in. Because a lot of people have heard it's really not a good thing, but they get desperate. When people are desperate or in fear, they do things they wouldn't normally do.
The stone walls of an Irish fortress concealed a secret trapdoor designed for absolute psychological torture. Leap Castle in County Offaly is considered one of the most violently contested strongholds in history. During renovations in the 1920s, workers broke through a solid wall and discovered a hidden drop dungeon known as an oubliette. The physical architecture reveals a terrifying reality as unsuspecting guests were dropped blindly through a hole into a pit of absolute darkness. The physical evidence they pulled from this forgotten chamber was staggering. It took workers 3 entire cartloads to remove the human bones found resting at the bottom. The most horrifying detail is that the floor was lined with long, sharpened wooden spikes, victims who survived. The fall were left pinned in the pitch-black silence, forgotten by the world above as they slowly succumbed to their injuries. This stone prison stands as a monument to medieval cruelty and sensory deprivation. What kind of madness allows a person to dine in a great hall while their enemies starve beneath the floorboards? Hi everyone, Mark here. If you are fascinated by the unexplained and the darker side of human history, subscribe and follow for more chilling mysteries and psychological madness. Join our community, link in the description.
You got to hear this.
God warned you about this. The Bible is right yet again. So science just confirmed that your brain cells are influenced by your self-talk. And this has literally been in the Bible for thousands of years, before the experts even knew about this. The Bible says there's power of life and death in your tongue. It also says, as you think, so you are. Yep. And the Bible also says that we can be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And that's literally what scientists are now discovering. And God warned you about this because if you're always talking about how tired and depressed you are and talking about all your problems and all these things, that's so dangerous because, listen, God created the world with words. He could have done any other method. He could have snapped the world into existence. He could have thought the world into existence, but he spoke the world into existence. And he created you in his own image. So if God created the world with words, what worlds are you creating with your words? If you're always talking about how tired and depressed you are and how crappy and terrible your life is, congrats. You're literally creating your own world of tiredness, depression, crappiness, and terribleness. Listen, the devil doesn't have to put a curse on you if he can get you to do it for him. Wow. The devil's going to give you thoughts that say, you suck, you're a failure, you're a loser, nothing good ever happens to me, I'll never get out of this. And if you speak those thoughts, you're basically just cursing yourself. All the devil did was load the weapon. You're the one who pulled the trigger. Stop calling yourself names that aren't yours. Start speaking victory. There is so much power in your words. Think about David when he went up against Goliath. Everyone else saw Goliath and they were terrified because they were focused on the size of the giant. But David, he wasn't scared at all. Not because he saw a different giant, but because he had a different focus. He wasn't focused on the size of the giant. He was focused on the size of his God. And everyone else was talking about Goliath like, that's a big old giant. We got nothing against him. But when David went up against Goliath, he didn't talk about how dangerous Goliath was. He talked about how great his God is. Stop telling God how big your problems are and start telling your problems how big your God is. Be careful how you speak to yourself because you're listening. All right? Can I get an amen?
True. I'm healthy, wealthy, and abundance. Amen. Type that in the comment below.
We are told that power comes from votes, but history reveals a darker truth. The ultimate weapon in politics is not a missile. It is a secret. A missile can wipe a city off the map, but a secret can enslave a president. Power is not sitting on a throne. True power is a file containing the secrets of those who sit on the thrones.
Often are infused with chemicals such as BPA, BPS, phthalates, and the PFAS. These are the forever chemicals.
That's true.
And they're infused with them to enhance the durability and flexibility of the plastic. BPA, for example, or even its counterpart, BPS. These compounds can mimic estrogen in the body, leading to hormonal imbalances that affect everything from reproductive health to brain function. Drinking from aluminum cans lined with BPA-containing resin can increase blood pressure within just a few hours. Phthalates are another group of chemicals that are commonly used. They've been linked to endocrine disruption, reproductive issues, and developmental problems in children. Higher levels of phthalates correlate with decreased testosterone levels in males, affecting everything from muscle mass to mood. Then there's the PFAS. They resist breaking down in the environment and they accumulate in our bodies over time. Exposure to PFAS has been associated with immune system suppression, thyroid dysfunction, and increased risk of certain cancers.
And you do have a dream. One of the natural systems you want to try to model is a cell. Yes. That's a beautiful dream. I could ask you about that. I also just for that purpose on the AI scientist front, just broadly. So there's a essay from Daniel Kokotayo, Scott Alexander, and others that outlines steps along the way to get to ASI, and has a lot of interesting ideas in it. One of which is including a superhuman coder and a superhuman AI researcher.
What?
And in that, there's a term of research taste that's really interesting. So in everything you've seen, do you think it's possible for AI systems to have research taste? To help you in the way that AI co-scientist does, to help steer human brilliant scientists, and then potentially by itself to figure out what are the directions where you want to generate truly novel ideas. Because that seems to be like a really important component of how to do great science.
The spirit of lust has a smell, dog. Hit me when I tell you the spirit of lust has a smell. This smell smells moldy. So when you are dealing with a person who done laid down with a whole bunch of people, dog, and you smell them before you see them, and it's this very distinct smell that only they have. It smells moldy. It smells old. Don't know whether it's their flesh, their clothes, or the spirit that's attached to them. That's the spirit of lust. That's the spirit of perversion. All spirits have smells. The spirit of rage, the spirit of unforgiveness, the spirit of lust, the spirit of perversion. They all have smells. Lust just so happened smelled moldy. It may seem a little confusing to somebody who don't know, but the people who know, y'all know that one promiscuous person, dog, that has that stench. It's this very distinct and pungent smell. It's sharp. It opens up your nose, man. And it's almost like you can't identify what it smells like. You just know it smells like promiscuity. It smells demonic in nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, dog, if you know, you know. If you know what I'm talking about, dog, drop a comment below.
You know. Demon smell, indeed. Smell like shit.
CERN, the Hadron Collider, the particle accelerator, the God particle. Don't you know anything? You know the movie The Flash? Alright, well, The Flash was based off of CERN, the particle accelerator. That's what blew up, you know, created the metaverse, opened up a portal, made people fucking metahumans. Anyways, we'll get into that later. Check this out. This video right here is not AI. And you might think it's AI, but trust me, this is from the opening ceremony of CERN. And these guys do some weird ass shit. And if you stay with me until the end of the video, I promise to show you stuff that you've probably never seen before. Buckle up, folks. Alright, that was fucked up. I love that I don't have to even make stuff up or talk a lot. It's them just literally saying their own words.
And with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
And being like, if they're not into weird ass shit, why do they keep saying all of the weird shit?
Yup, let them know, buddy.
You know, summoning demons, opening up portals, you know, multiple parallel dimensions, weird ass opening ceremonies where a guy's dressed up as a goat. And if you watch that video and watch the whole fucking 30 minutes of it, it's even creepier. I just took out a piece of it so I could show you guys. But let's jump into some other stuff. Remember the first video in part 1 where I showed you some of Gordy Rose's speech that he was giving. Now he talks here about H.P. Lovecraft.
I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest.
Alright, I shared that in the first video in part 1, but if you didn't make it all the way through because it was 5 minutes long, I understand. But there's a little clip of Gordy Rose from D-Wave talking about H.P. Lovecraft, talking about the Greys, talking about these entities that they're summoning into this reality that aren't necessarily a threat to us. They just don't care what we're doing, as if we don't care about what ants are doing or insects are doing or whatever. So it's pretty crazy. If you haven't watched part 1, make sure you go and check it out. There's a lot of knowledge in there, and I'm trying to keep these videos short. There's so much information to give you guys in like under 2 minutes. It's impossible. So next, we're going to get into this really creepy video.
Great content.
3 time travelers caught on camera. First, the 1928 cell phone. In a Charlie Chaplin movie premiere, a woman is clearly seen walking and talking into a device that looks exactly like a modern cell phone. In 1928. Second, the 1941 hipster. Look at this old photo from a bridge reopening in Canada. Amidst people in 1940s suits, there's a man wearing modern sunglasses, a printed t-shirt, and holding a portable camera. He completely stands out. Third, the 1938 factory girl. In this footage from a U.S. factory, A young woman is seen chatting on what appears to be a wireless phone, decades before mobile phones were even invented. How is this possible? Are time travelers living among us? Subscribe to the 1 Minute Oracle.
Petrified giant.
Look at that. Whoa.
Titan, whatever you want to call him, but he's a big one. Check this guy out.
Man, look at that. What's that?
You can clearly see the nose.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that nose. See, I got a new phone with
That's the hair right there.
really good imagery. So, that chin with the mouth. Of course, I'll put images on for you. There's the eyeball. Everybody knows the human body or the human form. This is a side profile.
Yeah, what's the body?
Look at that temple. Come on now. It's just like the human body. Oh, look at that cheek. I'll suck it in. That's what skulls do. Come on now. Area Always Petrified Giants Touring Company. Come out to Colorado. We got the most amazing things to show you. Licensed, insured, veteran owned and operated. I'd love to just show you some amazing things. I got so much cooler stuff than this. Please go check out my other stuff. Like, share, follow, repost. Until next time.
Wow. Man, fascinating. I would like to go.
I got into a billionaire's bunker because that billionaire is my brother-in-law. People think they built them for World War III. That's the story we all accept, right? Nukes, pandemics, riots, power grids failing, rich people panic, normal people can't buy food, and billionaires build luxury caves under islands. But after what I just saw, I don't think that's the real reason. And the part that scares me is how casually they talk about it. My wife's brother is a billionaire. Not fake rich, not owns a few rental properties rich. I mean, governments take his calls rich. So when I married her, people assumed the obvious. They thought I married into money. And honestly, I understand why. But I didn't realize I had married into something else too. The wedding was on a private island her family owns. Beautiful place, ocean cliffs, white flowers, champagne everywhere. The kind of wedding where everyone looks like they know a secret, but nobody has to whisper. And then someone casually mentioned the bunker. Not like a rumor, not like a secret, like it was part of the venue. Bar is on the terrace, dinner's at 8, bunker entrance is below the cliff. Nobody laughed. That was the first thing that felt wrong. Later that night, this drunk guy in a tuxedo pulled me aside. He was one of those rich guys who get more honest the more he drinks because deep down he doesn't think consequences apply to him. He leaned in and said, "You've seen the lower levels, right?" I said, "Lower levels of what?" He just smiled. 5 minutes later, we were walking through a hidden steel door built into the side of the island. And what was inside was not a bunker. Not really. It was too advanced, too organized, too ready. He showed me energy systems, underground gardens, surveillance rooms, water purification, living quarters, all of it. And the whole time he kept talking about people like they were math. Too many people, too much consumption, too much load on the system. That was the word he used. Load. Not families, not communities, not human beings. Load. And I remember standing there thinking, okay, this is dark. Maybe this is the secret. Maybe this is just what the elites really believe. But then I saw something built into the wall. One old piece of technology that didn't match anything else down there. And when I asked about it, he ignored me. Not dodged, not explained, ignored. Like he didn't even know why it mattered. But I could tell it mattered. Because in a bunker full of futuristic billionaire tech, that old machine was the only thing still turned on. To watch the full story, click on the link in the bio.
Something is coming. Hey, maybe I should go into the bunker business here in Indonesia. What do you think?
In the world we living in today, it's so fucking backwards. It's expensive to eat healthy, but it's cheap to kill yourself. You got hoes out here getting married while the loyal people get fucked over and cheated on. The price of living go up, but the minimum wage stays the same. Working for $1 billion companies, but getting fucking pennies. You know what I'm saying? Real die young, you know what I'm saying, get sent to jail while the rats and fake motherfuckers flourish in life and they get praised. You know what I'm saying? What is it about this world? You know, we fight wars that ain't got shit to do with us. You know what I'm saying? We don't know who to vote for. You know, we just don't know what's in our best interest. All we are is just a whole bunch of citizens trying to make it on our own, trying to make it for our family and shit. We don't know what these people in higher powers got going on. We just got to trust that they making the right fucking decision. We just out here trying to fucking survive. But everything's so fucking backwards. Nobody got morals. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got realistic standards and shit. Everybody want to take from everybody. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
Is there
man.
any genuine people out there? And the people that stand on business, they get looked at like they crazy. But the people that actually talk fucking crazy get looked at like they a fucking genius. What the fuck kind of world is this? It's really social media. Social media is a goddamn gift and a curse. The social media is supposed to be for networking, getting to know people. Now that shit's a fucking cheating show. Motherfuckers criminalizing each other, self-incriminating each other on there and shit. Like, what the fuck? Everything is so backwards.
You are absolutely right.
Okay, someone put together this video, which completely exposes the truth about what's going on with Iran, with this whole conflict. His name is Solar Cast Archive. And you need to hear this because it is literally what's going on. There's all kinds of stuff you can get wrapped around the axle thinking it's because Trump, it's because Iran, it's because Israel. Listen to this because this is the real reason behind this conflict.
The 2026 Iran war is not about nuclear weapons or freedom. It is a manufactured crisis designed to spike oil prices and lock in the next phase of control.
That's a heavy claim. Walk me through the receipts.
Oil prices jumped over 40% in the first few weeks, exactly like 1973, 1991, 2003, and 2011. Every major Middle East conflict conveniently creates an oil shock.
You're saying the pain is intentional?
Yes. Then they roll out the solution, electric vehicles. They tell you EVs will save you from high gas prices.
But most people can't afford a $50,000 electric car when everything is already expensive. So what happens when they can't buy the EVs either?
Exactly. Then comes the next step they already have planned. 15-minute cities. Everything you need. Food, work, healthcare, locked inside a small zone. Your movement, spending, and behavior scored by AI in real time.
This is convenience disguised as a cage.
Precisely. Higher oil prices create the crisis. EVs offer the expensive trap. 15-minute cities finish the job. This is not random foreign policy. It is economic warfare.
Now, don't expect to see that information written in any mainstream news anywhere because, well, that would be them revealing the truth, which they often...
You know, they are playing both sides. Come on, man.
Yeah, so...
You're not...
This dude's house.
I asked if you gotta go or you gotta come downstairs or something. Wherever you're gonna go, you gotta go.
Is fucked. So this is Win MC Picks. I think that's how you say his handle. And he's been on TikTok for quite some time now, documenting footage of the crazy fucking stuff that happens in his house. And whatever or whoever this fucking thing is.
Okay. I see it this time. Charlie, no.
Recently got him to move.
There's no waiting.
So I came across one of his videos today and...
Wait, say it again. Prove that you're here.
While you watch this, just imagine having to fucking live this way.
Why do you keep turning off the TV? Oh.
Man, he wants to play Xbox with you.
Look at that. This is the most active during the day that I've... Oh, there goes the Xbox 2. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm not liking this. Oh, wow.
Give the ghost the controller.
I swear I can see
Oh!
Ooh, stop it. I'm not liking that. Hun?
You have a ghost fucking with the Xbox.
This is the most active during the day that I've... Oh, there goes the Xbox too.
That's a no-no.
He says, shut the F up. You know what? This one has always robbed me as fake.
Did you know a 1700 queen once turned a river into her greatest weapon?
Ooh.
Queen Nzinga of Angola faced her darkest hour. Portuguese soldiers thundered across the savannah, their guns blazing, her kingdom crumbling behind them. The Kwanzaa River stretched ahead like a death trap. Her warriors looked to their queen, waiting for the impossible. But Nzinga had prepared for this moment her entire life. She split her forces. Decoy boats launched downstream, drawing enemy fire like moths to flame. Meanwhile, her real warriors slipped into the water upstream, using hollow reeds to breathe underwater. The Portuguese took the bait. As enemy cannons blasted empty boats to pieces, Nzinga's hidden army emerged from the river like spirits. They struck from behind, turning the hunters into the hunted. The queen, who seemed cornered, had orchestrated the perfect trap. By dawn, Portuguese forces retreated in chaos. The river ran red, but Angola remained free. Nzinga didn't just survive that night. She proved that true power comes from turning your greatest weakness into your enemy's downfall.
You go, girl.
They built a pleasure island, a little island in Lake Havasu City Lake, which is a sovereign territory of the city of London. It's an embassy for ambassadors. Different representatives of different nations can go there and are immune from prosecution, just like Disney World is in Florida. It is not United States territory. This is why when Governor DeSantis is trying to enforce taxes, they invoke a clause which says, oh, by the way, we're under the crown.
Yes.
Yeah, which crown? The red dragon. If you look at this, the heraldic symbol of the city of London, it is guarded by the red dragon. That is the financial empire of the world, and they own territories for their ambassadors all over the world. This is one of them. That little place.
And just we're talking Site 6, Lake Havasu, Arizona. When you say ambassador, you're talking about. Are we talking about like human ambassadors? Or are we talking about
humankind and the spiritual kind?
This is a place
they
for
have
that.
to meet. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You got to talk.
So these are portal
It's not
locations.
phone calls
that they come and meet.
like it wasn't always phone calls. Remember, they led mankind to build the technology so they could call us. Before this, people interfaced like this.
Yes.
You had to meet with your ambassador. That's why he calls us in the scriptures ambassadors. He's trying to communicate to us something that we're divorced from, because most people aren't raised by spies working for the State Department and children of the CIA. But when you do, you raise them up understanding we are all here. The only reason we live here in this country, in this territory, in this region is to serve the will of the ambassador, to serve the sovereign that we represent. That's how they operate. It's the same MO. That's why intelligence organizations are all patterned and fractured off of the Kingdom of Darkness's hierarchy, because it's one.
All right. Please, someone explain how Disney is not under U.S. laws when it sits directly in a U.S. state.
See, along with everything else in this world, is telling us the truth without actually telling us. They just released their newest commercial called All Hail Gravy, which is actually a part 2 in their Believe series. This series is aimed at painting KFC as a, quote, cultural icon, and includes dystopian themes throughout. It involves golden statue imagery, occult ritualistic practices, and even cannibalism. The commercial opens up with him randomly walking through the forest. He makes really weird eye contact with this chicken, which almost feels like he's now the offering instead of the chicken. People then drop down and appear out of nowhere and form a cult formation around him, again, almost like he's an offering, which I'm sure never happens in this world ever. We then see a giant golden statue of an egg being carried down to the water's edge, which is actually a lake of gravy. Major symbolism in this commercial, but it's just funny. It's just silliness. It's just a commercial. Nothing to see here. Has absolutely no meaning to the real world.
We then see him submerged into the lake of gravy, directly in front of the golden statue, by the way, until his bubbles stop. And then he reemerges as a chicken strip. Now, 90% of the world will watch this commercial. They will think absolutely nothing of it. They will laugh it off, say it's just a commercial. They'll say that not everything is a conspiracy, but the truth is right in front of them. They are telling us the truth about what is in our food and what has been in our food for a very long time. You just have to have eyes to see. The evil that we are up against, y'all, is unimaginable. And the average person can't wrap their brain around it, so they just refuse to believe it. Stop eating fast food because we are not eating just chicken.
You know, really bad timing to make a commercial like this.
You're not ready for what these celebrities said in front of cameras. These are some of the most disturbing revelations we've ever heard. Selena Gomez filmed herself on the day she signed her very first contract, and what she says right before signing is shocking. Watch this.
Hollywood Records contract, and I'm signing it because I'm going to have my first record ever and selling my soul to Hollywood Records.
I never would have thought something that serious had happened to her at the beginning of her career. It explains a lot of things. Next, this video from Cardi B is even more disturbing. She describes the kind of choices celebrities are offered in this industry. Listen carefully.
The devil, let's say if the devil comes to you, right? And so I'll give you $100 million, but I want you to turn your back on God. Would you turn your back on God, or will you take that $100 million?
She talks about it as if it's normal, as if everyone in this industry has already been offered that choice. And now listen to what Billie Eilish hid in one of her own songs, lyrics that millions of people hear without ever paying attention.
That I owe God to sell my soul, 'cause I can't say no, I can't say no.
These are three celebrities at three different moments, but strangely they are all delivering the exact same message. That can't just be a coincidence.
Keep your money, man. Keep your money.
That's what this is about.
It's part of the fix. It makes me think of Michael Jordan's dad. He got killed on the side of the road.
Michael knew that. Michael knew that. They busted Michael. Michael ain't got no money. Michael broke.
Really? Yo, I thought MJ is worth $4.3 billion.
That's chump stuff.
I might be
It's
wrong.
like a gambling thing or something.
You know, gambling. Broke. But they said, now we got this one Negro, so we don't have to get no more. His wife filed for divorce, and they said, he ain't got no money. Watch y'all just stay there. How did it come out? Because Michael Jordan, the restaurants he owned.
Is there a doctor, what's his name? Sebi?
He signed a contract where he would show up X amount of times a year, and they went to court and found he just had 2%. So when they busted him, shaving points. Then in the process, they said, oh, wow, man, Magic Johnson's doing the same thing. So they said, oh, we're in trouble. That is basketball. So they made a deal. Magic, you say that you have AIDS and you're going to get out. He kept gaining weight, man. The next thing you know, he was killed. Well, how come all them billionaire white folks that's dying from it didn't follow him? He never had it. Okay? And that big scandal with the basketball owner out there.
Oh, yeah, Sterling.
Yeah, sure. So here's what they did with Michael. Found his daddy dead in a car.
Sacrifice.
Talked to a couple state troopers. They say in the car, he just bought that car for his dad. And the name of the salesperson in Illinois, his card was up there. Voted Magic and all, said, well, we're going to get out. I'm just taking this is too hard. So he went to say, he won't play baseball. And then once he cooled out, stay in shape, then he comes back. When Magic tried to come back, Malone said, I won't be out there playing with no AIDS. It's a game.
That's right, you wicked demon. You hear me?
Let me put it this way. All I'm going to say is animals were involved. I want to be
free of
Involved in what?
this other legions that are in me, and I want them all gone.
Well, let's get it done. When you were young, is it a pretty, I would say, tragic youth?
Yeah.
Where things happened to you that shouldn't have happened to you?
Yeah. Let me put it this way. All I'm going to say is animals were involved.
This is what's caused
Involved in what?
everything, is just how you have been degraded most of your life. And how your beauty and your purity and everything was stolen from you so young. Let me pray for you, okay? Lord Jesus, that sick spirit, Jezebel, that came in early, her power will come to an end. That demonic power that's been in this woman's life from when she was young. This woman has been praying, Father, for this moment. Precious Lord Jesus Christ, I command this legion of demons that has came through all the sexual mess. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at her
Mine.
face.
So what's your plan?
Take her to hell with me.
Does she love Jesus Christ?
Unfortunately.
Can't take somebody to hell that loves Jesus. Ah, you wicked demon. Hear me by the Spirit of the Lord Jesus Christ. Jezebel and Lilith, your time has come to an end. Exit her body. Everything done by blood. Everything done by satanic pacts. Now come all the way out.
Just throwing up.
The Lord doesn't hold your yesterdays against you. Amen. He's doing a new thing, Tanya. Check your body, Tanya.
All right, Tanya.
There you go.
No burning. No wanting to cough.
Oh, you used to cough.
Every time
Wow.
I had to breathe shallow since birth.
How about your neck?
No stiffness, no soreness, nothing.
Now you do for somebody else what Jesus has done for you.
Who's this? Who is this guy right here playing with his hands like that?
Who that?
Something's going on, guys, at this event. Jake did it too.
Masons.
Is this guy, bro?
Masons.
'Cause I ain't never seen him before.
Freemasons.
And he's giving me R vibes, if you know what I mean. Nah, for real, who is this guy, bro? And why is he doing this with his hands? Shh, shut up! It's not a game. It's not a game. They're showing you. And what they showing you? Nothing. Jake playing with his hands too. Shh, shut up! This needs to stop. Something's going on at these fights, bro. Straight up and down. Jake, look how he's looking at the camera. Did they tell you to do this? Did you have to do this? Something's going on here, guys. But this guy right here, next level. I don't know. There's something up with this dude, bro, for sure.
For sure.
Putting the hands in a diamond. What does that mean? Diamonds are forever? Shut up! It's not a game out here. Not just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. This is nothing to worry about. He was just putting his hands like that, both of them, for some reason. I have no idea why they do this. It's just something they do. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think, because this guy is strange. Let me know. Yo, for real. I'm out.
This is no longer a game.
The International Transport Workers Federation, compelled by the family's plight, decided enough was enough. In May 1994, a team of investigators, funded by the ITF, traveled to the remote waters where the Derbyshire was last heard from. The odds were against them. The ship had vanished 14 years earlier, and British officials had long insisted that finding it would be impossible. But they found the ship in just 23 hours, nearly 4 kilometers down, resting silently on the ocean floor.
Plan of what's going to happen next. So I can't say it, but I'm telling you, I know what's going to happen next.
6G.
So I instructed her. We have a bunch of booklets coming out that when they come out, just trust me. You need to know what's in there. I don't care if you have to just take them. Don't steal them. I'll give them to you. But
I don't want to know.
These are things that are strategic. I know what they have planned. What I told her is how much metal you have in your body will affect you when this thing happens. It has to do with frequency. Okay, so that I stay safe and I can come back and I stay alive, I want to tell you something. I will give you a hint of what he showed me. It's going to happen. And you have to get rid of these metals in your body. And I know exactly how to do it very easily. If you want to do it fast and quick, it would be green drinks. Anything green. And, the whole fiber thing and all that. I know. But what I'm saying is there's something with chlorophyll that has to do with, it matches, it's very close to your blood, in its structure. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so you have to have a carrier that will grab things and take them out of your body, okay? That's why I wanted her to speak to you about this. So, if you want to know what's going to happen, and it could happen tomorrow, it could happen, but they're going to say it's something else. You're going to have to do your own thinking about this. I don't want to get in trouble. But just stick a piece of foil in a microwave and picture that in your body. And now you know the devil's plan. Because you can't see a microwave, but you can see the results of it when it's present. And you know to not put foil in the microwave because you just do it once, and then you have a fireworks show that the neighbors talk about coming from your microwave. Are you listening to me? Because frequencies affect different things. And if something is coming that is intentional, if it hits something that stops it, then it starts to heat up because of resistance. If it can't flow through you, then it starts to cook. And that's what I saw.
Inside out.
It's pending. They're going to say it's something else.
But you go to the hospital and you're dehydrated, what do? They stick an IV in your arm and give you saline. Well, what's saline? Salt water. So why would they stick salt water in my veins if I'm dehydrated? They're trying to hydrate me. Every time someone goes into the hospital in an emergency situation,
Is it different kind of salt, do you know?
first thing they do is start an IV of what? Saline. Why are they putting salt water in my veins? Because they're trying to help me. They're trying to save my life. They're trying to revive me. You know what I mean? So once I realized that, it's like, wait a minute, like that's salt. So why are they telling me to stay away from salt?
Well, and Brad, if you have a heart attack, they're going to give you 2 bags. They're going to give you 1,200 milligrams of salt. They're going to immediately inject you with 1,200 milligrams of salt, 2 bags of water, because they know no matter what's wrong with you. And like you said, no, if you go to the hospital for any reason, the first thing they do is they put that salt water in you. So even science knows, listen, whatever's wrong with somebody, no, salt water is going to make them better. Let's do that.
The originals are being activated. What do I mean by originals? The originals are essentially old souls. Been here before, done this multiple times, even some from the very beginning, and they're starting to remember. Within this, I've noticed that there are 2 groups, the activation wave and the fresh wave. Here's some signs that you might be in the activation wave of originals. And part 2 is all about the fresh wave. You've done spiritual work for years. You've been through multiple dark nights of the soul. You may have been rejected from spiritual groups. You may have been made to feel that you're too much or not good enough. You may have felt a little off about certain healing modalities, so you just created an amalgamation of bits and pieces of things that work for you. You may struggle with naming things and attaching certain labels to things because you understand that everything is frequency and vibration and energy, and within that there is no language. You may have no desire to be right, you just want peace. You probably went down lots of rabbit holes only to remember that they're also a trap. You have probably emerged from isolation, which is necessary, and ready to hold the frequency. You've integrated your shadow and embodied your feminine and masculine aspects. You may have recently activated your actual voice and opened space in your throat. You may have felt isolated and confused, but you would rather stay in that state and try to force yourself back into a box. You might have made several dramatic life changes over the last couple years. You may have been in relationships or friendships that felt aligned, but were just off enough to implode. You might have a burning desire, or you already do travel a lot. You might feel exhilarated by being a stranger in a new city. You may now realize that you've been deliberately outcasted, humiliated, and manipulated by the people closest to you in your past. You may have known something was wrong with the world since you were a child, but never felt confident or strong enough to weave that into your identity until now. Bonus, you might have grown up motherless or without a parent or with the evil step-parent archetype. You may have been duped by false light multiple times. Part 2 goes over the similar but slightly different signs that you might be an original who's in the fresh wave. Nothing I say is medical or dietary advice. Listen to your body, nourish yourself. Every human body is at different levels of physical trauma and needs different levels of nourishment and healing in order to get to baseline.
This is what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy.
President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. The absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David. And the fact that this earth-shattering event occurred in a little village called Butler is also significant, because that is exactly what I believe President Trump was anointed for. A butler is devoted to serve and assist in the management of the home, which is the futuristic role of Esav in relation to Jacob, to serve and assist in the management of Messiah's household, which will be the entire planet Earth. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. He will no doubt do a lot of good things to strengthen our economy, protect our borders, and allow religious freedom to flourish. But America will never become a great country on its own, because Esav's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. The meaning of the MAGA movement needs to be adjusted. America was a great idea, but it was never realized. When the American government under FDR chose not to lift a finger to save the Jews from Hitler's inferno, America was not great. They slammed the door shut even to Jews who miraculously were able to escape from the clutches of Nazi Germany. How great was that? I believe this man was chosen to be the one to represent Western society in greeting the Messiah in Jerusalem, chosen to bow his head in humility to
Messiah is already came.
Mashiach, and to offer America's complete unconditional assistance to completely eradicate all of the enemies of the Jews and of God, and in the establishment of the eternal kingdom of the Messiah, son of David, who will lead all of mankind to lead moral and holy lives. I see it, but not now. I perceive it, but not in the near future. A star shall go forth from Jacob, and a staff shall arise in Israel, crushing their enemies and dominating all of mankind. Edom shall be demolished, and Israel shall be triumphant. May we all witness this speedily in our days. Amen.
If this is what you preach, go fuck yourself.
Oh, by the way, Jesus came, man. I didn't expect that at the end.
First case that you looked into that got you thinking that something weird's going on?
Probably would have been at Yosemite, and there was a girl named Stacy Eris, and she, just weirdly, she grew up like 5 miles from me. I grew up in a little city, Cupertino, California. She grew up in Saratoga, the next town over. She went with her dad on a trip by horse sponsored by a contractor in the park at Yosemite, and they were going to ride into this place called the High Sierra Camp. Her and her dad and 5 other people. And they get escorted in by a cowboy contractor, and they come to these cabins. And her dad's an older guy. They get to the cabin, and she says, "Hey, Dad, I want to go over here to the point. I want to take some pictures." She brings her camera. And one of the guys, a 72-year-old guy, is sitting at that point, and she goes, "I'm going to go right there and sit with him and take some pictures." He goes, "Sure." Dad watches her walk out. They sits down. Old guy, barely could ride the horse. She's taking pictures. She gets up, and down at the bottom of the hill, there's a small lake. And surrounding the lake, there's trees. She walks down into the trees, presumably to take pictures of the lake, but she doesn't come back. Big search. I'm talking about one of the biggest searches in Yosemite history. And they find the lens cap to her camera inside that path in the tree line. They never find her. And that happened 46 years ago. I filed the Freedom of Information Act for that report and all the investigation into it, and I get denied. I appealed. I got denied. Finally, a special agent from the Park Service, just so people know. The Park Service has uniformed police officers, National Park Service police, that patrol their parks. And they go to the National Law Enforcement Academy. Up above them, they have special agents, detectives. And they are doing all the follow-up work that the police officers in the field do. This case goes to a special agent. There's been nothing done on this case in 40 years. The special agent calls me. Why do you want the case? I said, well, that's an irrelevant question according to FOIA. You can't ask that. And he goes, well, I want to know. I said, well, it's been 47 years. I doubt anyone's looked at it. Have you looked at it? No, nobody's looked at it. I said, well, I'd like a copy of it just to understand what happened. He goes, you're never going to get the case. This guy's name was Special Agent U. Why you? I said, why? And he says, none of your business. You're never going to get it. I said, first of all, why talk to me like that? I'm prior law enforcement. I'm not being rude. I just want to know. He goes, forget it. Drop it. You're never going to see it. I said, no, I want that case. And he goes, you've never seen any other missing person case, and you're not going to see this one. I said, whoa, I have over 30 missing person cases from your agency from around the United States that I've FOIA'd before and I've received. You're a liar. You said that to me. I said, no, I'm not a liar. I don't lie. And this is the truth. And he goes, well, you're not getting this one. Anything else you want to know? I said, no, I think you've done it. And that was it. In that amount of time, I've really found out nothing more about the Stacey Harris case. 14-year-old girl, disappeared, never found. Nobody's ever done anything on the case in 40 years. I still haven't seen it. Now, I talked to Tim Burchett, who you had in here the other day. And I explained to him, I want a meeting with Burgum. And I want to lay out what I have and explain the obstruction.
Who's Burgum?
The head of the Department of the Interior.
Okay.
Doug Burgum.
Okay.
And explain to him the obstructions that are happening in his agency. Those are our reports. If nobody's looked at it in 40 plus years, what does it matter if I have it?
Right. The people that were working back then aren't working anymore. It's not like anyone's going to get in trouble.
No, half of them are dead.
Right.
And Tim said, okay, I'll have my people get a hold of you. They got a hold of me. They said that they called DOI. They said that DOI people said, yeah, we'll get a hold of you. I called them 3 times. They won't call me back.
So what do you think's going on?
Well, can you imagine if all the truth was exposed in everything? I mean, what would you do if you suddenly knew it all? It's mind-boggling. All right, there you go, folks. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed my lineup, and see you in the next video. Let's go!